The Treasury is saying it'll provide capital on an as-needed basis to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac over the next 3 years. This will eliminate the $200 billion cap the Obama administration is committed to keeping Fannie and Freddie afloat. Does this open the taxpayer checkbook? Does this policy mean there's more weakness ahead in housing? We're going to debate that. Today's Call the Wild. Let's bring in Shari Olefson, attorney at Fowler, White & Boggs, Spencer Rascoff, COO of Zillow.com. All right, Shari, I just don't see this as a housing issue so much as I see this as the taxpayers just got hosed. There is no plan to exit Fannie and Freddie. We're going to own them for the rest of our lifetime, and they're government bureaucrats. How do you read this story, which was put out the dead of Christmas Eve?
There's no question that putting it out on Christmas Eve is, let's say at best, a little annoying. But I think, Larry, it's not inappropriate at this point to be making a move like this. I mean, we've talked before that the crunch of the housing debacle is still ahead of us for 2010. So there's no question that this forward thinking is, in my mind, not a bad idea. On the other hand, I would like to see some, we'll call them New Year's resolutions for these GSEs, among those of which would be to eliminate the ambiguity in whatever this implicit government banking is and either make it explicit or make it be gone, to eliminate the inherent conflict of interest that we've always had in these government entities, which is, between the drive for public profit, for private profit and for public housing market, and improve some of the oversight here. I mean, Fannie Mae's been around since 1934, so we've been through a lot of incarnations with the agency, but let's just hope that these last few years will be the darkest that we'll ever see.
Spencer, isn't it really an issue of we're backstopping the first blow-up of the housing bubble, and we're sort of backstopping the building of another bubble? Is that the right way to look at it?
Well, it is. I mean, Fannie and Freddie exist to create an infrastructure, an environment, an ecosystem that allows banks to make loans that they otherwise might not have made, because those banks know that they can turn around and sell those loans to Fannie and Freddie. So they helped create the first bubble, and by continuing to kind of feed that beast, what we are definitely doing is propping up housing values. Now, it's a policy question of whether, perhaps this is an okay time to try to prop up home values so they don't fall any further than they otherwise would. But that's what this
let me
move's
stay
all
with
about.
that logic. I agree. You're making some great points. Interfering with market prices. We are seeing a bottom in all the housing indicators, including the home price indicators. These government agencies were part of the problem, Spencer, were they not? Why are taxpayers being asked to finance them forever? That's what I'm hearing, forever. There is no exit plan, Spencer. And why are we paying these essentially government bureaucrats $6 million to run them? Where's the moral outrage that I heard about the bankers? All this is on the table, Spencer.
Well, if you look at what happened in the Canadian housing market versus the U.S., for example, both had very similarly low mortgage rates, but Canada didn't have the huge run-up that the U.S. had, and they also aren't facing the foreclosure crisis that we're facing. And the reason was Canada doesn't have Fannie and Freddie. So there's no question that Fannie and Freddie helped create this.
No developed country has Fannie and Freddie. Peter Eves had this. Peter Eves had this in the Wall Street Journal. It's a great story. No developed country, no country like ourselves, has a Fannie and Freddie. And I think it's done more harm than good, Shari. What's your take?
You're absolutely right, and it did create, I mean, within the last few years, Fannie and Freddie got out of control and created a lot of problems. I mean, look, as recently as 2005, there were members of Congress saying that they didn't see any issues with Fannie and Freddie. I think at this point, it's impossible to say that. We had major accounting improprieties, and we've got this bubble that, no question, was fueled by these two GSEs. The problem is that today is not the time to pull them back, because as with the private market, one of the things we've uncovered is that they're deeply embedded, more so than we ever thought, in the credit default market, a lot of commercial banks.
How about a taxpayer-oriented exit plan? That's all I'm asking.
That's what we need.
I don't want any radicalized action right now. I appreciate that point. Give me a plan. These guys are just throwing more money at them forever, in perpetuity. Brian, you want to weigh in?
No, I just...
perpetuity.
Quickly, Spencer, just tell me what would happen if they didn't get this backstop. I think that's what people want to know, but you got to be quick.
Well, home values will drop even more than they otherwise will. I don't think...
No way!
And foreclosures will be up.
Spence, don't be afraid to stand up to Larry. You can do it.
No, I mean, if I think Larry would agree, if Freddie and Fannie didn't get this backstop, home values will decline more. Now, that may not bother you because that's what the market wants to do, and you're a market, a free market economist,
I believe in prices,
and that's what the market ought to do. The question is when to unwind this. Is it now or later?
We have to do microeconomics, price theory. Prices are a discovery process. Prices allocate resources. Shut up, Larry. Shari, thank you. Spencer, thank you.
Take care.